Hey guys, it's Cam for Investors Underground. It's been a little while since our last interview here, but recently I had the chance to sit down with one of the up-and-coming traders in the IU community. He's a young guy who's managed to get up to speed in a relatively short amount of time, putting up numbers that have really caught the attention of some of the seasoned pros in the game. It really is my pleasure to be able to chat with him today, Alex Bozito. So Alex, for those who don't know much about you, do you want to introduce yourself a little?
I would love to. My name is Alex Bozito. I'm 23 years old. I currently live in Greenwich, Connecticut, and am a finance major at Auburn University.
Nice. And it's my understanding that you're currently wrapping up your degree right now.
Yes, I am. I'll say sadly studying right now. I have 15 more credits left in the spring, and then I'll be officially done and able to focus 100% of my time and energy into trading.
And is it the finance degree that got you interested in stocks, or?
It's because of stocks that I went into finance. In 2013, 2014, stocks piqued my interest when I had an economics class and we had to pick a stock for extra credit. And whoever picked the stock that yielded the highest return, we were able to get extra credit.
Right, so which stock did you end up picking?
I picked Chipotle at the time because in high school, me and my friends loved Chipotle. We used to go 3 to 4 times a week.
It seems to be the way that lots of people who are new to the stock market pick the stocks that they want to get involved in, right?
Yeah, just simply because I like the food. I didn't really know much about stocks at that time, and everyone was kind of going with the original Apple and Amazon, which were probably great choices back then if you look at the chart now, but I kind of wanted something different.
Was anyone kind of deep diving into the stocks or doing any due diligence?
Yeah, no one was doing research. Everyone just picked something that they knew the name of or brands, yeah.
So walk us through the first time you placed a trade.
I placed my first trade in 2015. I basically transferred to a different college in August of 2015, and I was managing a long distance relationship, and I was a little older getting to the school, so I didn't have many friends at the time. I was just going to class and coming home. I wanted a hobby of some sort just to keep me busy. What drew me to trading was that I love video games. Whether it be a console or computer games, I love to play video games, and it's probably, other than trading, one of the only true things that I'm addicted to. And I kind of found trading to be like a video game, watching the level 2 and watching the charts go up and down. And I kind of just saw this all and said, I can do this. I can beat this. I can make money doing this. So I kind of stumbled upon a guru who captivated my attention. And I talked to my parents, and they allowed me to open up an account at E-Trade. And then I placed my first trade probably the end of August.
So tell us about the early months of your trading.
I'm not going to say the early months were rough. It was up, down, up, down. One day I'm up $50 to $100. The next day I'm down $50 to $100. There was zero consistency. I think I may have had a win streak of 3 days as my greatest win streak. I went very small on my trades. Like I said, risking $50 to $100 a trade. I was learning. I was using it all for learning experiences because I think learning is great in a paper trading account, but when you paper trade, you have zero emotion in the game. You don't have any true skin in the game. The first couple trades I ever made, my heart was racing. I was sweating. And you don't learn to control those emotions unless you just constantly trade day in, day out until you become kind of emotionless. But I was also chasing alerts. That stopped after a month and a half or 2, but the initial alert got me. I would think, oh, I can get in at a good price and I can sell too, but I realized quick that wasn't the future for me in trading. That's not how you make genuine, consistent money, following someone else's play.
So you're part of the other trading community for a few months, kind of chasing around alerts with very mixed results. It's my understanding that you were searching around for something different and found Investors Underground. Tell us a bit about your early days with us.
So getting started, I was kind of just watching Nate a ton because, as you know, and people who don't, Nate is constantly posting in chat. The man doesn't stop. He must be looking at 10 to 10 to 15 stocks a day or so. He's always posting, and he's posting great things. And even if I wasn't trading probably 95% of the stuff he was talking about in chat, but I'd pull everything up and I would just see his thought process, because it would be ignorant not to, because as someone who's older and has had success in the field, you want to try and get into their mind, understand why they're making the moves they are, because clearly they have worked. But in addition to Nate, Eric is someone I looked up to immediately. I thought Eric, as just part of my language, but just a badass dude when it came to trading. He has conviction like I've never seen before. When he thinks something's gonna happen, he doesn't talk the talk, he walks the walk. So I always looked up to Eric, and I actually remember just messaging Eric a couple times, and I would be extremely nervous because I didn't want to seem dumb and just kind of embarrass myself in front of him. And now actually, here we are in 2018. I talk to him on almost a daily basis. He's probably one of my best friends.
It's kind of crazy like that, right? And just for the record, when you got started with us, you went through both textbook trading and tandem trader coursework.
I did. I watched both of the videos and I thought they were very educational. And I think it's a mistake for anyone who hasn't watched them. I think you're at a huge disadvantage. And for any new trader, I believe the value that you get out of those two surpasses months and months of just trading on your own.
So tell us a little bit about your trading style.
I like to trade momentum stocks. I try to avoid illiquid and long-term positions because patience isn't my forte. I've come to accept that a lot of my long-term trades do not work out. So I try to every single day look to see what are the most actively traded stocks by volume, and I like to trade those because I like to see what's going on the level 2, and I feel like I get the best read on what is going on when there's a lot of volume being traded.
So are you mostly longing or shorting these stocks? And, what's the average amount of duration or time horizon for you in these trades?
I trade long and short. The time varies. I'd say typically I'm in a trade for 10 to 15 minutes. I like to take profits when I see them. And I do end up missing out sometimes on a fair amount more money, but I've had more plays come back on me and end up going red with patience than I've had work for me. I trade long and short because I used to only trade short, but the matter of fact is you can make money doing both. And sometimes a market is better to be buying stocks, as we saw in October. October was one of the best months I've ever had, and majority of my trades were all longs, even though I consider myself a short seller. I trade usually every single day from 9:30 to 10:30, and then from 2 to 4.
So when did you feel like you were making progress and getting some momentum behind what you were doing?
I had my first breakthroughs in mid-December to mid-January 2015, 2016. It wasn't until I really started analyzing my trades and figuring out what works for me and what doesn't. It took me to do that to start becoming more consistent. And I realized that there was a certain setup that I always lost on, and there was a certain setup that I won majority of the time on. So I started solely focusing on that one setup that I was consistently profitable. And the only bad thing about that was that one setup didn't happen every single day.
So I'm trying to imagine how you were able to juggle study and trading at the same time.
It's kind of difficult, actually. My financial markets institution teacher, I sit in the front row and I have my E-Trade platform open, and he knows I trade. I talked to him at the beginning of the semester saying, hey, listen, like during your class time, is the market open? I need to be there for the market open. This is what I want to do in the future. And he was actually surprisingly okay with that. He said, as long as you keep doing my homeworks and well on my exams, I don't care. So I've kind of took the honest approach with my teachers to let them know that this is what I want to do in the future, and they respected that.
And does he ever ask you how much you're making during the class, or?
So on some days he'll ask me, He'll kind of mess with me and say, so how much is Alex up today, guys? You want to take a guess? And some of the times I'll tell him, and he'll be kind of shocked.
So at what point did you start to feel this is something that you could do full time for a living for yourself?
I got the feeling that I wanted to do it for a living very early on because of the excitement. I don't believe there are many other excitements out there like trading. I remember my first, honestly, probably 2 months of trading. Every single trade I got into, my heart would race, and that's not a good thing. Now I'm calm and collected, but kind of just there was a thrill to it. And when you have a plan and it works to a T, there's no greater feeling. So it was pretty early on that I knew I would love to do it for a living, but it wasn't until June 2016 when I made 30 grand in a week out in Greece on the beach that I said, "Oh, this is for me."
30 grand on the beach. It kind of sounds like you're one of the poster boys for the glamorous lifestyle of a day trader.
No, that's a luxury. I day to day I'm at a college. I'm off-campus housing. I have basically a nice desk from Home Depot that's on some milk cartons with a couple $1,000 trading system on it. So it's kind of a do-it-yourself desk with a nice setup on top.
So talk us through what a typical trade might look like for you.
A standard typical trade to me, well today, pretty sure we traded the same stock, but I traded APHA, and my mindset on that was there was a great short sell presentation on this pre-market. It was down 20 something percent. I think they're a complete fraud. The presentation had me sold, but what I have learned over the years of trading, because I got humbled real quick, you cannot be too biased on any stock, no matter how trash that stock is, no matter what kind of research you've done, and because you may be 100% correct, but that doesn't mean that the stock can't punish you. So I've learned not to be too biased, but I had a feeling that it would be a good short into pops at open. So I took a position at 580. I took 5,000 shares short, which is, in a hindsight, it was way too much because I didn't really want to get into a 30, 40,000 share position. I'm trying to actually trade smaller these upcoming weeks just because I'm so busy with studying for finals. I'm trying just to go smaller. So I got 5,000 at 580, and I got another 5,000 at 640 and 660. And my risk was 7. 7, I would have cut it off. I would have been a little upset, but 7's a big whole number, and I thought maybe I'll let it go over under 7, see how 7 holds. But that was my plan. Once the stock went to 680s and 680s slammed it down, I think I added into the next pop, risking off that 680 high. In hindsight, I don't like shorting the front side of the move. I completely shorted the front side of the move. Typically for me, if anyone pulls up the APHA chart, you'll see that the stock slammed from 680 down to 640. Usually that bounce is the bounce I love to lay into, and then I risk that prior high of 680. For me, that is a very high percentage trade, and I don't feel like I'm on the front side of the move, how I was just adding and kind of adding up. You tend to get into trouble with that. So that was my plan. So I got my average up to like 620, 630s, and I said sub 6 wash is where I'll cover. I didn't want to be too greedy.
So tell us about your favorite trade of all time.
My favorite trade had to be GE a couple weeks ago. It was trading insane volume, meaning I could get in with as much size as I wanted, in and out pretty much in an instant. And it put in a top and it looked incredibly heavy, so I sized in pretty huge, only risking 10, 15 cents, but it never stopped. It must have gone down $1. Now I only captured 30, 40 cents of that move because I was out and about on mobile watching it, but that had to be one of my favorite trades because I honestly have never gone in with size the way I did there, and it ended up working out.
So I know you're trading some pretty decent size right now, but I guess that wasn't always the case. Talk us through the process of scaling up for you.
Well, the process scaling up, it was very slow and gradual, honestly. I think it went from 50 to 100 a day to if I made 250 in a day, I was absolutely ecstatic. And then it became, I would say, in March of 2016, after being with Investors Underground for 2 months, I was probably making, I would say, 400 to 500 on a daily basis pretty consistently. I mean, obviously, I would have my down days, but my down days would be kind of the same as my up days. So it was not really sending me back. I wasn't taking a big loss. And I just slowly kept doing what I was doing, just not changing my trading strategy, sticking to the setups I liked, but just slowly putting in a little bit more money, a little bit more money, a little bit more money. So not ever changing my true risk in terms of percentage or cents wise, but just increasing the dollar amount, keeping that either 25-cent risk or 50-cent risk. And I just slowly and gradually increased.
So now that you're scaling up, I guess the stakes are way higher. Every time you're putting on a trade, you're risking a small-sized family car. How do you manage that risk on an emotional level and make sure that the numbers don't affect your psyche?
I try not to look at it like that, honestly. Because if I look at it at my age and you're thinking, realistically, if I'm putting this all into context, which I need to try and look at the bigger picture more, because I really do. Nowadays, I'm at the point where I was talking to Eric the other day. If I make anything less than $5,000 a day, I feel unsatisfied. And I need to get out of that mindset immediately, because if you're green every day, that's awesome. I try not to look at my trades about how much is at stake. I like to look at my trades saying, how much will I make if I'm right? How much will I lose if I'm wrong? And how probable is it that I am right? Those factors all come into what kind of size I use, because how much I risk. And it's not an exact science, but on GE, like I said, I was risking 15, 20 grand on the trade, but I knew if I was right, it could have been a $100,000 trade. And it was. I didn't capture all of it. I wish I did, but it ended up being that $100,000 trade. I caught 30 to 40 of it. That's kind of how I view things. I try not to look at, oh, this is on the line right now, because I feel like that will make me nervous and it will kind of alter my trade. I like to, because right now, obviously, I'm up a fair amount on the year. I don't want to trade saying, oh, I'm up this much so I can lose this much, but I do like to kind of leverage that when the trade is right. I currently size down just because I would like to end the year on a good note, and realistically, October was a month I've never seen before. You had AMD moving $2-3 in a day. You had Nvidia, like the past week and a half, 2 weeks, has moved $30. It went down to, I believe, the 40s, and now it's up into like the mid 160s. It's just the volatility we're experiencing with the volume has allowed me to use great size. And if you're on the right side of these trades right now, they're pretty much going in the same direction all day. I'm not being that patient, but it was a great time to use size, and right now I'm not feeling as confident using that size, so I size back down.
So what's one piece of advice that you wish you knew on day one?
Oh, okay, so I knew always have a max risk, and I knew that I was told that. Nate stresses that every single day. Every day he stresses that, but I want to stress that too. You need to have a set risk, because don't get me wrong, every single one of us is guilty of not sticking to the plan. We don't cut a stock off, and it comes back, and we get out break even, or we make money actually. But it only takes that one time to where you won't even be able to. You might not even have the chance to continue trading. So always have a set risk. And also, I think I'd like to tell newer traders and whatnot, don't be afraid to keep using small size. I think using small size is great. I think it allows you to be more patient. I think it also it gives you more satisfaction, because when you start using bigger size and having some big winners, you don't want to go back to the smaller days and whatnot. You just don't. And if I could do it all over, I kind of wish I didn't use as much size as I did, because I would like to be absolutely ecstatic to make $1,000 a day. And it really is the small gains that add up. It's not the big win, big loss, big win, big loss that adds up over time.
That totally makes sense. I was curious, what piece of advice might you give to aspiring or existing traders who are looking to take their game to the next level?
If you're an existing trader and you want to take your game to the next level, I believe if you're not Investors Underground, you're missing out. I think Investors Underground provides some of the best content out there. But in addition to that, I think you need a network. Be friendly with everyone. Chat with everyone. I find that my game has taken the next step due to the people I talk to. I am beyond grateful to you guys. It's it really is kind of like a family unit. Everyone wants everyone to do well.
So given you've been through, I guess, our coursework for the beginners and up to speed in a way that you're making money on a consistent basis, what do you use the service for on a day-to-day?
Honestly, I use it for alerts a lot of the time. There's you have some amazing people like Stapes and others who post just very, very quick alerts on new news. And I also use it to chat with some friends and bounce trade ideas off of these other guys, because if what I'm seeing is not being seen by one of these other guys, I tend to rethink something, because usually we all kind of are on the same thought process when it comes to a lot of these stocks. We usually see a lot of the same things, and it's really nice to enter a trade and also have kind of a confirmation with someone else saying, yeah, I can see that happen too. Kind of just, reaffirms everything that you've thought and you've planned out too. So I use Investors Underground kind of just to chat with everyone and bounce trade ideas, see what alerts are going on, what new news is being posted. All my trading buddies are 100% through Investors Underground. I'm friends with Josh, Nate, like I said, Eric. I talked to Cody. I talked to him more about cryptocurrencies because I'm totally into cryptocurrencies as well. And Cody absolutely is a phenom with that stuff.
So short, medium, and long term, what do you see in your trading future?
I plan to, in May, I graduate. So I plan, starting May, I am going to do this full time, see how it goes for 1 to 2 years. This year I started back up in June, and I'm currently up 6 figures this year. So I hope to bring that into next year as well. But as long as I can be consistently profitable, I will do this for the rest of my life. I love the people I talk to. I love trading. I love that I can do it on my time from anywhere I want with my hours. So I definitely plan on doing it full time.
Awesome. That sounds about as good as it gets, right? So how can people get in contact with you if they want to ask you a question or just say hi?
If you want to reach out to me, I respond 99% of the time. You can just find me in Investors Underground at, I believe it's Sposito Alex, Sposito Alex. And it's the same thing on Twitter. Just look for Alex Sposito and then look for kind of a young douchey kid, and that'll be me. Just reach out. Twitter's a hit or miss with me because sometimes it goes to that requested DM box and I won't see that notification for a long time. But whether I'm trading or not, I'm always in the Investors Underground chat room. Feel free to PM me, and I would love to chat.
Well, thanks for your time, Alex. It was really cool to get to hear a little bit about your trading style, and I know a lot of the Investors Underground members have been watching your success in the markets and keeping an eye on the stuff you're trading in the chat room, and really wanted to hear a little more about what you've been up to and how you approach the world of trading. Thanks again. I really appreciate your time on this.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time, Cam. I hope you have a great day.